Greetings everyone, welcome to Advance. And this game was played in 1959 Candidates Tournament, and this game is played by Mikhail Tal. And on the black hand side, we have Pal Benko. And you know how Tal was like in 1959 Candidates Tournament. He was an absolute beast. He beat everyone with an exceptional score. And just he was not able to beat Paul Keres. Other than that, he beat everyone and he qualified and he beat the world champion at that time, Mikhail Botvinnik, and was able to get the spectacular world champion title. So I'm not going to keep you waiting for long. So without further ado, let's start with this game. Tal is with the white pieces. He starts with e4. We have c5 by Benko, and we have Sicilian defense. Knight to f3 and just g6. Going for the hyper accelerated dragon variation, but the names are unnecessary. We have d4, bishop to g7, and just d5. Just going for the advanced variation, or maybe an old Benoni variation, and we have d6. But now just going for this knight to c3, knight to f6. We have bishop to b5 check, knight bd7, and here just a4, and we have castles, but now just going for this castles as well, and just a6, just pushing the bishop back, bishop to e2, but now just going for this rook to b8. And now we have rook to e1, both players getting their pieces settled in, and Tal is ready for an exceptional attack. And here knight to e8, a little bit slow move, maybe trying to go for this, but it's just not going to work. Here bishop to f4, just starting with developing that bishop. We have knight to c7, and now going for this bishop back to f1. Just this will act as a very nice defender. Here b5. Now Benko is going to attack on the queen side, but Tal is going to attack on the king side, and it's going to be very much dangerous because when Tal attacks on the king side, he's coming for your king, and you have to be very careful. Here queen to d2, but now just rook to e8, and here h3, but now finally going for this knight to f6, trying to defend, but here rook at d1, and now Tal has all the pieces developed, and he's going to start an amazing attack. And you can see that, and you can also learn from this, because whenever your opponent is trying to actually attack on the queen side, you have to immediately go for the strike on the king side and just make sure you get the king, because here bishop to d7, but now just e5, just immediately striking in the center. And definitely when you open that center, this bishop is nicely aligned, knight is going to jump in, you might just push that h pawn as well. This is a great position to attack. Here b4, just targeting that, and this queenside attack is a little bit too slow. I mean, it's just not going to work. Here knight to e4, but now just knight caps on e4. Rook captures, but now just bishop caps on e4, and grabbing a pawn in the middle of an attack is not a good move. Here bishop to h6, but now just going for this bishop back to h8, not trading that bishop, because if you trade, then the queen gets in, and once the queen gets in, it's all over. Here rook d to e1 was played, and here the best move in this position is just going for this bishop to b5, just trading that piece of bishop, and then you'll have an amazing pass pawn, and maybe you can push it, and maybe you can distract Tal with threatening to push all those pawns on the queen side, and maybe Tal will be scared, but not really, because here if you play bishop captures, a captures, e6, but now here f captures, and here d captures, but now going for this bishop caps on b2, finally grabbing that pawn, but just queen to f4. And now you can see with this bishop being here, queen slicing all the way here, it's very difficult, very difficult. And all you want to do is, because of these pawns and this pawn, queen is not able to get in, you have to defend with the queen. So the only way that you can do is sacrifice the exchange, and you'll survive an attack, and you'll have a great pass pawns on the queen side, and you might be able to survive the attack. Here rook to f8, and here after bishop captures, queen captures. Now not actually going for that trade, because that will bring the rook in, and even with the attack, Tal won't be able to do anything, but going for this queen to f7 check. And here you cannot capture. I mean, if you try and capture this, then it's just completely over, because this rook captures comes with a tempo, and that to an attack on the knight, and you lose the piece and the king. So here not going for that, but here actually just just moving the king. And once you move the king, and now you get this knight to g5, I mean, this looks very, very scary. This looks very, very scary. And here, queen to g7, asking for that queen trade, but just rook to h4. I mean, this is just absolutely insane that how this is a draw, because h5, and you have to play it very precisely. I mean, even with that move, that was the only move that actually can save you in this game, because even with all these pieces, it's still a draw. But here, after this rook d to e1, here just f6 was played, and f6, just blunders the game every single time. F6 is the culprit, because you don't have to take here, neither do you have to take here in this position. All you have to do is advance that pawn, and that's what Tal had been waiting for, and he was handed that on a silver platter, because here f5 was tried, but now it's a little bit of a different story. Rook to h4, and now the rook has joined the party. If the queen gets in, it's going to be impossible to defend that. Here bishop captures on b2. I mean, this is just insane, because you have faced an attack. Tal has his sights on that. Rook is there. I mean, everything is perfectly set up, and you're here pawn grabbing. I mean, you cannot just always go and play like Capablanca, because you're not Capablanca. Here bishop to f8, sacrificing the bishop even for the attack. That's just insane. I mean, this move is just absolutely crazy. Here rook captures, and queen to h6, but now going for this rook to f7. Now finally trying and actually giving up that. But Tal is not even interested in that rook. He's not going to capture that rook because there is no point. Because if you capture that rook, then you might be able to run away, or you might be able to bring the bishop in with the defense, and you might be able to survive the attack. But here, actually, unfortunately for him, it's a mate in 14 moves that starts with knight to g5. And once you go for this rook to g7, now you go for this knight captures. Knight captures on e6, just sacrificing some material to survive the attack. Here, a d captures. Rook to f7, again giving up the rook, but not capturing it, but going for this rook to e3. You want this rook to be on this file, and now once the bishop moves back, now you play this queen caps on g6, grabbing that pawn, and after going for this queen to e8, now you play rook to g3, and it's all over. Whatever you do, it's a mate in few moves. Here, knight to g5. Here just f4, trying to dislodge that rook, but it doesn't matter. Knight to g5, and here king to f8, but now rook rook to h6 check. Bishop captures, and here and knight to h7 check. Rook captures, but now you can see see the mate. You don't even have to move the rook, and this is going to be checkmate. So this was a mating sequence that Tal missed. Tal went for this e captures, and here this is perfectly fine. I mean, you can capture that, and there is no way that Benko can survive this. But it's just that was a way faster. Here king captures, but now just queen captures, and it's in with the check. Bishop blocks, but now going for this rook to h6. Now just targeting this pawn. This was also a move, but you don't want to give Benko a bit too much. Here queen to g8, queen caps on g6 with check, king to f8, and just knight to g5. Just finally getting the knight in. I mean, this is just impossible. Just knight getting all of that, queen is capturing all of those squares, rook is always occupying this file, and even you cannot even escape. This is just impossible, and Benko should have resigned here, but Benko continued. For a few moves, he played queen captures on d5, but now here rook to h8 check was played, and it was on this move, on move 30, that Pal Benko resigned the game, and Tal created an absolute miniature, that to in candidates tournament. I mean, this is absolutely crazy. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll be coming back with such amazing games, so stay tuned for that, and I'll be seeing you guys very, very soon. Thank you.